case, I'm Chairman Strickland, and I'll be presiding over in his absence. First, what we'd like to do is stand and have the invocation and the pledge. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Has every commissioner had a chance to look over the May 5th public hearing, regular minutes, and make?
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
I would like to amend the agenda to discuss the VOC video.
Okay. Do anyone have any motion? Second. Okay.
I guess it would be in
Item H. Item H.
Item H.
Okay. So that'd be like the video/website, you said?
Yes.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Now we have the approval of the May meeting minutes.
Following review, I make a motion that we approve the minutes as written and distributed.
Do we have a second? Second. All right. All in favor? All opposed? Motion passes. Items to be discussed. Number 4. Our first is our public comment. Do we have someone who'd like to come up and speak?
Well, we got okay. Which one? I got 2 of these.
One was from last week, I think.
No.
One that should say June 2nd.
Well, now, there's 2 for tonight because we
There's
have a
2 for
budget work
tonight.
session and we have our formal BOC meeting.
Well, what we're dealing with right now is the Board of Commissioners meeting.
Okay.
Not, okay? And we've got public comments, so anyone like to?
Can you just got to do public comment. You can't comment. I just want to clarify this. I meant to give this to you, by the way. You can't comment on each different thing after. You got to do it all at one time.
Correct. That's the way it's set up.
Okay.
Because before, what they said, comment was at the end after everything's been done. So now we tried to put it at the beginning. So if you want to address any of those down through there, you're more than welcome to address them.
Okay. Do I stand here? I guess.
Wherever you like.
Okay. I got a lot I'd like to address actually. Let me get my.
You do have a 3-minute comment.
Well, I had asked for 10 to 15 minutes, but somehow Elaine did not put my name after I had called to ask to be on the agenda tonight.
Yeah, for that amount of time, you need to be on the agenda.
Well, I asked for it to be put on the agenda.
Friday morning.
I'm sorry, what?
On Friday morning after the
On
agenda
Friday
was
morning.
set.
Yeah, we have to notify the media as far as within X amount of hours. But we'll be glad to have you on the next, just enough time to do that.
Okay, and then in that case, then what I want to talk about, I would like to see if there's any requests that I could roll this over to the next meeting.
If you like to, you can. We can have that for the next meeting.
Okay, the
It's your opinion.
HB 685 responsible dog ownership law. I want to be on the agenda for that. And I paid now $15 myself to run these copies because my printer went down. This is something else. And I'd like for everybody to get a copy I'd asked Elaine to do a copy for John so he could be prepared to talk about this tonight. So apparently that did not happen.
So what I would do is call
Yeah.
Elaine and ask her to put you on there for next month.
Okay, so we can
And
roll.
Elaine did get us information. I know I got information.
And you actually distributed it to us for our review.
This whole packet, because it's got the animal control, the city ordinances, and the county for the,
Okay, we'll discuss that at our next meeting, okay?
that'll be discussed, thank you.
Okay?
And,
Anything else?
yes, Sunrise Villa subdivision. I'm gonna tell you, I almost bought in that subdivision. When you first go into it, it's the house right when you drive in. Actually, the person, the couple that mom bought.
And I don't want to cut you short, but you need to get to the point
Okay.
because you only got 3 minutes.
Okay, Hart County gives you 15, 20. Sunrise Villa, I would like for these gentlemen to be compensated for this disaster at Sunrise Villa. It's big, multi-million-dollar houses over there. And also, I would like to get help for this lady that was here that, I think it's
Just Chandler.
Miss Chandler, yes. I would like us to take over that road. Thank you.
Does anybody else have anything?
I got one, I don't know
Come on up.
if this is where I go. I'm Chuck Polaro, I live in Fisherman's Cove in the Gunlog area. And it seems every 2 weeks or so, there's a pit bull loose or vicious dog running around. I don't know if this is gonna be covered with the vicious dog act that I hear of. But there's gotta be something done, because I've got a 6-year-old girl that likes to go out and play, and I call the sheriff's departments, they say, if the dog comes in your yard, and quote the law, you have the right to put it down or whatever and dispose of it. But every 2 weeks, I don't wanna have to be taking down a dog, and so I don't know what to do. Where's the next place I would go? Is this where I would come?
Yes, sir.
What would I have to do?
Well, any proposal that you would have, and don't want to circumvent response from the chairman, you could bring a proposal to the board for review and consideration, but we do have an agenda item tonight
Yeah, that's right.
regarding our responsibility toward a recent House bill that was passed that hopefully will be able to provide some clarification on the county's responsibility and our response towards that law.
Yeah. All right, because it just seems like there's got to be something else besides every individual in the county having to shoot a dog every time he comes
I have
strolling
a whole
by.
packet.
It's horrible out there. And I don't know. You know what I mean? It's a hard situation to deal with. And maybe we could get some help, a dog catcher or something for strays. Or no idea where to go on this or how I would.
The only thing I can tell you, I know that a leash law had been discussed last year.
Yeah.
And the thing is, as far as with that lease law, then you have to have, how are you going to maintain laws that aren't being enforced now?
Yeah.
I can't answer your question with that and everything, sir.
No, I just
But
like to
thank
put
you
it
for
in
your
everyone's.
comments, and it is true, because I live in the city of Livonia, and we have dogs go right through our yard
Yeah.
in the city of Livonia, so.
Yeah.
And
But
they
it's a
have
huge
a leash
county.
law.
Okay, but thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to put it out there, so
Okay.
keep it in people's
Thank you.
heads.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Does anyone else have any public comments? All right, hearing none, well, next item is Sunrise Villa. Our county manager, John, would you give us a,
I'll be glad to. As you know, at the work session, you heard from several of the residents in Sunrise Villa regarding some trees that were removed from the county right-of-way along the roadway there. I think since that time, you probably all have heard from the other property owner that actually had the trees removed. And then, of course, need to keep in mind as well, there is a 1 foot buffer area that is designated between the property and the county roadway right-of-way. As far as my recommendation, to me, it's pretty clear on the 1 foot buffer, that is not property of the county. We really have no authority or no say as far as what happens on the 1 foot buffer area. The question then becomes the roadway right-of-way. As we talked during the work session, typically the county has allowed property owners to remove vegetation from the roadway right-of-way as long as it doesn't cause any safety issues and doesn't present any problem as far as the safety of the roadway. The letter that subsequently that I sent to the property owners regarding the situation basically stated that we had no objection to vegetation being planted back within that roadway right-of-way as long as it did not obstruct the view of the lake. We really have both properties, I guess, really arguing, or both sets of property owners arguing that their property value is affected some way by what's both taking place out there and what they would like to see take place. As you know, the property owner that had the trees removed is arguing that his property value is decreased if he doesn't have the view of the lake. And, of course, the property owners there within the subdivision are arguing that their property values are decreased by not having the buffer along the roadway. As far as a recommendation from the county manager, I still feel that our response from the county was appropriate regarding allowing the planting back as long as it did not block the view from the adjoining property. I still feel like it's appropriate as far as the 1 foot buffer, that they have the right to do what they would like to do on that 1 foot buffer area. But tonight we need to finalize something regarding this matter as far as how we'd like to proceed.
John, just a question, how would you ever determine that a view is obstructed from the property? Because the property is at a slightly higher grade than the roadway. So if we're telling this group of residents they can plant vegetation, there are very few plantings that would not restrict the view of the lake in the fall season with somebody just standing out there on the property.
Right. And the understanding that I had, speaking to the property owner with the undeveloped property, was at the time at least he had very specific plans as to where a house would be located on the property. All he was asking was from that building site that he would at least have a view to the lake from that point.
Okay. Well, I'd like to make a motion that we allow the residents of Sunrise Villa to be able to do what they'd like to do on their 1 foot line, and with hopefully replanting within moderation of making it back beautiful like it was. Do I hear a second?
I'll second that for the purpose of discussion.
Okay.
And would also follow up. I went out there myself and Commissioner Franklin Saturday, and the area that was cut, I will say, significantly impacts the aesthetics of that area. And what I would further clarify in the motion is the residents, if they so choose, be willing to plant and reestablish vegetation back in the right-of-way that is consistent with what on either side of the parcel.
Yeah, that's, and then also basically with where they would actually keep up, because they've always been keeping up that, I believe, for that area. And
Well, I think this motion sets a very dangerous precedent for the county. Let's not forget it's county property. Are we going to dictate exactly what kind of shrubs? Are we going to dictate? And we need to understand 10 years from now, if we have a similar case, then are we going to be in the business of dictating what can be planted, what can't, how's it gonna be maintained. I mean, I think we're opening ourselves up for, something that's not going to benefit the county. The county owns a lot of property, the county owns a lot of right-of-way property. By having the trees cut, and they were scrub pines. I mean, nobody came out and planted these things, they were just volunteer scrub pines. It helped the county in the event of ice storms and things like that. And I don't think it should be planted back. I really don't, because I'm telling you, we are opening ourselves up. And hadn't they been throwing leaves over there?
Well, what we opened ourselves up is letting somebody cut on property that was not contiguous with their property. I mean, typically, whether it's the state or the county, people are able to maintain their frontage that is adjacent to right-of-ways. This would be just like, even though it's a 1 foot buffer, you could say, well, you have a 1/4 of a mile of buffer, and somebody would have the same right to go and basically cut on county right-of-way. Like I said, all my recommendation would be is that the residents be allowed to plant back what was there, and there was more than just scrub pines. There were some very mature trees and vegetation through there. It's very nice throughout that subdivision.
I think we're opening ourselves up to,
I don't know.
I would like to confer with council. Could it be a problem down the road?
Unfortunately, I'm at a bit of a loss as far as the background of this, because all I know about the situation is what I just heard. But
Well, if there are legal concerns, I mean, we can table it, but like I said, I don't see how you could go wrong by allowing the restoration of a piece of county right-of-way put back.
Have we determined what kind of shrubs can or can't be planted?
Well, I would say what is consistent. I don't want to get into a review process.
So that's what we're going to get into, because the property owner, if we agree that view would not be obstructed, then we're going to have to dictate what kind of plants are going to be planted. We're going to have to dictate how high they can be and who's going to cut them if they get higher than that. I mean, are we potentially open up ourselves for a lawsuit on the...
Well, when you tell an individual that they have unrestricted site on that property, then this vegetation that's out there without any further plantings are going to grow, and is the county then going to be responsible for going out there on the county right-of-way and maintain?
The county maintains right.
So you're going to have to maintain this 125-foot section where the adjacent right-of-ways will grow
With a bush hog.
unconstrained?
With a bush hog.
Okay.
Well, I'm just saying,
Okay.
what are we going, I think if we're going to do this, we need to dictate what kind of shrubs, we need to dictate how high they can be, and then we're going to have to figure out if they get higher, who's going to maintain them. Because if it comes back, this guy, through our letter, in which I totally agree, we gave him permission. He paid money to cut these trees. He paid a professional tree service to come and cut the trees, and now,
Did he know at that point in time that there was a 1 foot buffer that the property owner or developer had established to separate his property both from ingress and egress, and a total clear delineation of separation from that parcel of right-of-way? Because if that 1 foot buffer was not there, I would say absolutely he would have every right in the world, but I think it's a dangerous precedent to define line of sight, being able to maintain sight distance from a structure that's not even built.
I had a conversation with him Thursday evening, and he was aware of that 1 foot, because as far as with the previous person there, as far as that would keep any type of a driveway coming down into that subdivision. He was also aware, he told me, that he had paid too much for that property, and without having that, he would not be able to get any recoup. And I told him basically that I can't tell you what to do on your property. I said, there's a fence on the left side of him with the first house that has a privacy fence there going down that side of the property. But he was aware.
I just think you have a very nice, well-maintained, manicured subdivision, upscale homes,
Yep.
and when you have this one little small area that deviates and isn't consistent with the adjacent right-of-ways, it takes away from the aesthetics.
Okay.
Mr. Franklin, you were also out there on site, what is your view, or what is your
Personally, I have, I guess you'd say, mixed emotion about it,
Oh, I do too.
because the county owns a lot of right of way, like Mr. Parker said. And are we gonna, and I understand there's nice houses over there, I understand all that. But are we gonna say, they come to my house and I don't want them bush hog the road in front of my house? They go on down to his house and bush hog. Are we gonna let people say where we can bush hog on the county right of way? I mean,
That's not what we're saying. The only difference here is
but if we plant
these
trees,
are not,
if they plant trees on it, you can't bush hog a tree.
but you can't bush hog anything else adjacent.
Yeah.
Because this area is clear, it was consistent. I don't want to change your opinion. I'm just saying that the main difference is here, there is a 1-foot buffer that delineates one tract of property from the county right of way. The county would never try to tell somebody what to do in front of contiguous property.
Which, on that piece of property, I don't see how he'd ever see the lake. He's got better eyes than I've got if he, because his house is on the other side, and his trees, he might be able to see the lake in the fall.
I
But-
agree.
Well, I don't know if that's the issue here. It may be the issue with the landowner, but, with the 1-foot buffer, has taxes ever been paid on that?
I don't know the answer to that question.
I think I do. I can't find, any plats that I've looked at where the 1-foot buffer exists. It may or may not, but I certainly cannot find any tax records where any property taxes has been paid on a 1-foot buffer.
That's something we need to follow up on, but the plat that delineates and shows the 1-foot buffer is a duly authorized and recorded plat.
We're going to have to be consistent. If we make a decision here, and I think our council will agree, from now, this is going to set a precedent on what can and can't be done on the county right of way. So, I think we need to tread very carefully on this.
Well, I think that county staff in this particular case, if it is the pleasure of this board to allow for restoration in like kind of adjacent right of way, I think they definitely have the expertise to have the oversight of the replanting of 125 plus or minus feet of right of way. All right.
Are we going to establish a height barrier?
Well, I think that the adjacent vegetation establishes the height barrier, unless this board wants to also incorporate either.
Well, what I think what this motion is that they can plant shrubs of a certain height. Is that true, or can they plant anything, leaving cypress?
I thought my clarification of the motion was, and David, you made the motion, I thought it was that it would be consistent with adjacent right-of-ways.
Correct.
And so there is no height barrier.
The height barrier would be whatever is adjacent, the same type of trees, etc. That would be what I would be in favor of. And if it's a legal issue, Commissioner, perhaps we need to table this and ask for legal clarification, because I don't want to open up Pandora's box with, us setting a precedent here that we might
We're
regret.
definitely going to set a precedent.
Well, this is a very unique case because it's not often you have
Right.
properties that are separated by a 1-foot buffer. This is, as a matter of fact, this is the first case that I'm ever aware of this. Were it not for that buffer, I would have no problem with that
Well-
individual clearing county right-of-way in front of his property and maintaining it.
The person that spent money through our okaying it on our property, he got a letter that it was all right for him to spend the money. Are we going to reimburse him his money if we're gonna let it plant it right back?
Yeah, that is a very good question. I don't know.
I mean,
And my question, did we, as a county, did we know that this property was not contiguous, that there was a defined buffer there? Because there's no difference in a 1 foot and a 1 mile differential. That would mean that I could go pick out a section of county right of way and, want to cut it for whatever reason.
And,
So-
and I don't know when the original letter was sent back in 2007. I don't know if that information was shared at the time. I know it, though, as we discussed last time, when we were there, the tree cutters, everyone else is there, we did not discuss the 1 foot buffer. But,
I mean, to me, that's the definitive factor here of what would allow for reforestation or what would deny. But, like I said, if we need further discussion, which it sounds like we
Well,
potentially.
what I'll do is I'll rescind my original and basically just make a motion that the property owners of Sunrise Villa within that 1 foot basically can do what they would like to do on a 1 foot. And then we can actually look at the other part as far as the vegetation.
I don't think that we need a motion to allow them to do what they would want to within their 1 foot property.
I think we really need to tread carefully because we will set a precedent.
Well, precedent in a sense has been set.
It's already been set
Allowing
by allowing someone
county
to do
right
it.
of way to be cleared in non-contiguous property.
And like I said, if that 1 foot wasn't there, wouldn't have a leg to stand on.
But I have no problem given the legal concerns and setting a precedence of us delving and researching this further in conjunction with council.
Okay. Well, right now, then we'll just table it. Okay?
Okay, we'll need a motion to table it, Mr. Vice Chair.
Do we have a motion to table?
Motion.
All right, have a motion?
Second.
All in favor? Okay. Next is Gary Hall right-of-way. Jim?
yes, sir. As you know, this was a project that actually was in effect back in 1997 through a Georgia Department of Transportation contract. In 2007, at the recommendation of DOT, that contract was canceled. But by that time, an 80-foot right-of-way had actually been acquired throughout the entirety of Gary Hall Road. Some work has been done on the road, but of course no work has been done to actually pave the roadway. One property owner has requested that if the county does not intend to pave the roadway, he would like for the county to return his 1.83 acres of right-of-way which he dedicated to the county. I have talked with our county attorney briefly about this. If we want to proceed and quitclaim that property back to the property owner, we would actually need to go through the abandonment process for that portion of the roadway. It would certainly be my preference to be able to not give this right-of-way back to the property owner. I've tried every means that I could come up with as far as ways that we might satisfy him, but he is persistent that unless we have plans to pave the roadway, that he would like that property back. And it was definitely, from talking with him, his understanding at the time that he gave the right-of-way, that the plan was for the county to pave the roadway.
All right.
Mr. Vice Chair, I have reviewed this situation, and I understand the abandonment process. The right-of-way, 1.83 acres, was deeded to the county exclusively based on the fact that there was going to be a widening project which needed the right-of-way in order to satisfy the Department of Transportation requirements for the funding. Given the fact that due to funding issues as well as other issues, the project never came to fruition, I'll make the motion that we, per request, deed the right-of-way back to Mr. Evanson.
And I'll second that.
Okay, now we have discussion. Let me ask you this, by deeding the right of way back, and if you do go through the abandonment, does that mean that there's portions of the road that's going to be closed?
No, none whatsoever. This only impacts the right-of-way basically from the edge of pavement or the edge of the dirt road in this case, back to the newly established right-of-way and restores it back to that property owner. Nothing changes other than the ownership. It puts the property back on the tax digest as being owned by the county and allows him unconstrained use.
And actually, the portion of right-of-way that was obtained was actually obtained in order that the roadway could be relocated. So the right-of-way is not actually where the existing road is today. So it would not affect the roadway
It
as
would
far
not
as closure
affect
of
the
the
new
roadway.
road.
That is correct.
So we'll maintain the road from ditch to ditch?
That's correct. That's
Which has
correct.
always been basically the case.
Right.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, to clarify, it is included in the motion, the authorization to proceed with advertising
Public hearing,
for the abandonment.
correct. Duly noted, and that will be part and parcel of my motion to include authorizing council to proceed with advertising for the abandonment, which is to be placed in the legal organ.
Okay. All right, with that, second, all in favor? All opposed? Okay, motion passes. Next is Stone Road, County Road 152.
Yes, sir. We received a request from Mr. George Boney on Stone Road. As you know, currently, the county maintains 0.35 miles of Stone Road, and that is consistent with the Georgia Department of Transportation inventory for our county roads. Mr. Boney owns property at the end of that maintained area, and what he is requesting is that we provide maintenance throughout the remainder of the road, which is approximately 1,050 additional feet. If you look at the sketch that we provided, you can see that the only property that additional road portion serves is the property of Mr. Boney, and actually goes to one structure within that property. Since that portion of the road only serves as access to that property, staff's recommendation is that we do not accept maintenance responsibility for that additional portion of roadway.
Mr. Vice Chair, since this falls in District 3, I went and evaluated the request over the weekend, and in concurrence with staff's recommendation that we do not take on this additional footage of the, what I call a driveway for maintenance.
Okay. Do we have a second?
I don't think this will need to be voted on if we take no action, would it?
Well, I think action is appropriate
I think
since
it
we
is.
do have a request.
Okay.
Okay, so we have a motion, do we have a second?
I second.
All in favor? All opposed? Motion passes. All right, Bear Creek Road realignment, John.
Yes, sir. We received a request from the property owners at 3179 Bear Creek Road, which is the dirt section of Bear Creek Road, actually between Grady School Road and McGee Road. As we discussed at the work session, there's a very severe curve at that location. The property owners have indicated a willingness to donate the necessary right-of-way to us if we would consider improving that curve, relocating it. Based on the safety hazard that's there with the existing curve, it's our recommendation that we proceed. This is a project that we could do fairly easily with our county staff. There'd be one drainage pipe that we would have to acquire, but other than that, it's not a lot of clearing. Anything would be involved with the project. So contingent upon the property owner providing the right-of-way to the county, I'd like to move forward with this project.
Do you have anyone like to make a motion that we continue with this project?
I'll make that motion. This will significantly enhance the safety of this section of roadway. And actually, when the new roadway is placed and aligned, will reduce the linear footage of the roadway for future maintenance purposes. But the main thing is the safety aspect. And it is adjacent to a residence, and it's on the high side of the curve where somebody leaves the roadway, it's going directly in that yard. So this will be a significant safety improvement to this segment of roadway. So I'll put that in formal motion, Mr.
Okay.
Vice Chairman.
Do we have a second?
A second.
All right, any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. The water line.
Yes, sir. Staff continues to work on the installation of water line based on our priority list. As you know, the last time we discussed priorities, we talked about completing South Fairview Road between Stonebridge and Grady School Road, and then also the installation of line on Stonebridge Terrace. County crews have completed both of those projects, and at this time we'd like to identify the next project where we'll be installing water line. Based on a review by staff as far as system improvements and also the number of potential customers, we're recommending that we move to Hill Crossing Road and install water line on Hill Crossing between Sandy Cross Road, State Route 51, and Salem Road, which is State Route 174.
All right. Do we have a motion that we send our crews over there?
I'd like to make that motion, Mr. Chair, Vice Chair.
Do we have a second?
I'll second Mr. Vice Chair, and this is an excellent choice by staff, John, because we have the right of way, it's open, there are no stream crossings. This should be a very good system improvement, in particular with the number of customers.
All right. All in favor?
And we want to take the opportunity to thank our staff for the excellent work they've done with a minimal level of staffing, making these system improvements, which in many cases in other areas are only done via contract. But they've done a good job in maintaining the current system, reading meters, performing maintenance, et cetera. And please pass that on.
I will do that. Thank you.
Okay. So all in favor again? All opposed? Motion passes. Proceed with that, please. G would be House Bill 685.
Yes, sir. Georgia has passed what commonly is known as the Georgia Responsible Dog Ownership Law. Basically, this law really is not a leash law, as we discussed a little bit earlier, and as we discussed at the work session. But basically, this is a law that deals with two classifications of dogs, really dangerous dogs and vicious dogs in accordance with the law. So, as a part of that law, all local governments are required to designate a dog control officer. Now, again, this is not a leash law. This is not an animal control officer, but deals specifically with dogs that can be categorized at least at the dangerous level due to attacks on humans or other animals. So at this point, it's my recommendation that we utilize our existing county marshal to also take on the duties of this dog control officer position.
All right. Do we need let's make a motion for that, please. Anybody have a motion?
I make a motion that we go with the county manager's recommendation
Okay.
to the county marshal.
All right. Do we have a second?
I will second and also state that he has had previous experience in training in fulfilling these duties and responsibilities.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second, now we have discussion. I think basically with this, just like the young lady who had been bitten with that over on 59, I think with this, that would actually have Chris where he could go see and then have it reported as well to the state in a timely manner.
Correct.
Instead of if it had been 6 months if they hadn't received or whatever.
Well, I think already done this even without a new state law. It just gives a go-to person that is familiar instead of bogging down our sheriff's department with a lot of things, so I think it's a very good choice.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Now, go to Commissioner Harper, where we amended the budget, where you want to discuss the video websites for county.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. I wasn't aware until recently that we have our cameras, and I was assuming if it was being recorded, that it was being put on our website. And I would just really, we need to have some discussion openly about why our video is not being put on the website. Is it problems with the website? And if so, we need to desperately do something about our website.
And I'll be glad to respond to some of those issues with your permission. As it turns out, it is an issue with our website. And in fact, it's an issue that I've been working on for several months. And I apologize for not sharing information that they weren't there. Now, we do have the videos, they're available, and we can share those with anyone, but it gets somewhat difficult due to the size of the files, but we do have those. But there are a number of issues with our current website, and I was not aware of them until I started delving into why some of the things were not able to be updated. But there are quite a few issues, and basically what I've determined through talking to several different folks from the area that do website design and maintenance is that to put money into this website really is a waste of our money, because we'll never get it to the point that we really want it, where it will be to the point where we as staff can simply go in, add the information that we would like to have there. I have gotten several proposals as far as rebuilding a website, and have all plans and intentions to move forward with that. We've got some money in this year's budget that I would like to go ahead and utilize to get that started. And a lot of it deals with, from what I understand, improvements in the website design software over when this one was created and what is available today. But in essence, we've never really taken advantage of a website. In other words, our letterhead doesn't refer you to a website.
Right.
Nothing that we really put out there as far as our material directs you to a website. And that's a shame that we haven't taken advantage of that technology. But this next step will definitely get us there. And the company that I really would like to use has done several websites for local businesses, local governments. Staff and I have looked at the sites. We really identified the form we would like to use as far as making it to where Elaine can go in, can put meeting notices there, can upload the minutes herself, can have a calendar that shows all the events that are taking place in the county, can allow us to access the video, ordinances, building permit forms, things that right now with this website we really can't utilize,
Right.
that we will be able to do.
Do we know what kind of price tag?
The best price that I have gotten to totally rebuild the site is $8,500.
And do we have any maintenance, not maintenance, but, annual fees on it?
There's no annual fee on it, and again, we would be able to, basically the way it works in my simple terms is we would have, for instance, an area that would have jobs,
Yeah.
bid, items for bid. We as staff can go in, take a document, we can upload it to the site ourselves, have that there. So the only time we would need additional help is if we had some kind of technical issue.
Well, I know usually you pay a
Maintenance fee?
a maintenance fee for the web space.
Right, and we pay that now, because we have a space now that we actually pay for.
Okay.
So we
So that wouldn't cost any more.
That's correct.
Well,
They haven't paid that.
I hope we can get that done as soon as
Just
possible.
what are you looking at time frame wise?
I'm actually scheduled to meet with the gentleman on Thursday of this week, sort of as a kickoff meeting to talk about what will be our first step. And one of the main questions I have for him is what do we do with our existing website right now, as far as, do we just ban it as under construction, or what do we do with it for right now?
And I wonder if there are any interim measures that can be taken. So we have our budget hearings that are coming up, a lot of important issues that, you know, the public really needs to be made aware of and need to be involved
Yes,
in.
definitely.
And I might remind everybody that the actual county website was comprised of a motion made by the board, so we actually are on record with passage of a motion that we have and maintain a county website back in '05.
Thank you, John.
And also, because with that, what I would like to, kind of goes hand in hand with the county, is like getting the county really up in the 21st century with
Yes.
everybody else. And it's just like I know I've spoken with our state representatives on the building over there on I-85 that's been vacant for many years, because it's just an eyesore as well, that we can get things and a beautification for Franklin County, get everything started. Then, once we have that, everything go together.
That sounds like as usual, staff's ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
Well, and a lot of the things, a lot of the questions that we get as far as phone calls start out with, where we went to the website, but we couldn't find the information. So I think really that will be money that we'll see really a very quick payback and actually a benefit from very, very quickly.
It's just like delegating where they could actually print off their own.
Absolutely.
Right.
And that's the intent initially.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
And hopefully we'll have a substantial update by our work session next month
Right.
on the status.
All right. Well, then that concludes it. We have a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Okay.
Second, Mr.
All in
Fontaine.
favor? All right.